So with that, I'll turn it over for the CEO report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And let me extend my hearty welcome to that of Chris's. In fact, on behalf of our founder, the 41st President of the United States, he has left a letter from him to each and every one of you expressing not only his welcome, his gratitude, but his continued challenge. Chris has already said it. The challenge is not only to be bold and venturesome, but to be persistent. Cancer is not going to go away. You're going to drive it away. Not as an individual, but as a collective that Chris has also recognized is so powerful. For in fact, if each of you were to reflect on your companies, who you nobly represent, and think about your balance sheets, that doesn't even begin to actually add up to the real assets of your CEO Roundtable on Cancer. For collectively, you're not only adding all of that together, but in fact, you're also dendritically, through your relationships, expanding it further. It really is the power of the exponent, and this is exponential. The reasons for this are personal. For every person of us knows someone, either ourselves or perhaps in this room, a loved one or friend. And that image, that individual, that's what really drives you forward. So the CEO Roundtable is a very, very special enterprise. I've long ago stopped trying to define it and rather committed to utilizing it. When I look at you this once a year, your CEO Roundtable, I am honored and I'm humbled, for it is a privilege to try with great confreres, John Dornan, Peggy Harrington, and now our newest colleague, Teresa Martin, to bring not just the message, but it's a message of invitation. The invitation to what? To do something spectacular, to do something that's audacious, to actually come together as a unit to say, cancer is intolerable, and we here are resolved to do all we can to put it in its proper place. And I would submit to you its place belongs in only one place, and that's in a history book that's entitled The History of Medicine. There is a chapter in which you are co-authoring. It's the chapter on cancer, and it's going into history, but only with your continued partnership. And that's the sense of this whole meeting, is partnership, progress, and hope. With partnership, last night we saw it. 3 organizations, in themselves powerful, but when they came together to frame and form a sphere of not only opportunity and excellence, but a sphere of hope through the progress that Project Data Sphere will enable, something new was created, and you're going to be the judges of it. And after you judge it, then you are to be the users of it. And as you use it, then it's your responsibility to spread it. The only way you can keep it is to give it away, to tell others about Project Data Sphere and how it may be supportive and critical in what they intend or need to do. Partnership, progress, and hope. That's your cancers. That's your CEO Roundtable. That is the way in which cancer is being written by you all into a history book. The CEO Roundtable on Cancer is this incredible King's Own private game preserve. Welcome to your preserve. It also is non-hierarchical. Long ago, through the wisdom of the 41st president in making that phone call to Bob Ingram, he automatically compressed all of those organizational charts into one flat line that says we are the first among equals. I remember, Bob, you at the very first meeting in Glaxo Wellcome's then boardroom, because it had not yet become GSK, on behalf of the president, asked everyone to, if they hadn't already, to please leave the room and check their egos at the door. And that was a pause. And then he said, there is in the middle of this room only one boss that we serve, and that's the cancer patient. And that's what I ask us all again to reflect on. We've checked our egos at the door. That doesn't mean we checked our responsibilities, our corporate and institutional responsibilities. On the contrary, we carry those here with us. But now we are here to meld and to partner in ways that may be new and novel. Some may take courage. I would submit that Project Datasphere has taken some of that. But in so doing, you're creating an opportunity that's going to make progress and that to patients will be defined as justifiable hope, a hope for a time when the fear of cancer is going to disappear. We're very grateful to the President. And on that note, I want myself to acknowledge how grateful I personally am that usually no fewer than 4 times a year, myself and Chris and Bob and Bill and others are invited by the President to give him a report. The President is now 88, and many of you have asked of his health. I'm really pleased to tell you that as of last evening, when I got an email from Gene Becker, his longstanding Chief of Staff, that a night before last, he had a delightful dinner at a local restaurant. So you may remember he was ill for a while, in fact, quite a while, with a terrible case of bronchitis that actually brought him into intensive care. And one of his spokespersons, probably inadvertently, said that the President used the term was gravely ill. And that occasioned around the world, of course, a lot of people making reservations on planes. And he then, when Jean came back into his room in intensive care the next morning, she told him what a stir all of this had caused. And he said, and I quote, "Tell him to put the harp back in the closet. I'm staying put." And those were the 2 phrases that then went out. So we're pleased to say that the harp is in the closet, and he truly is staying put, and he sends to each of and every one of you, again, his gratitude, but also his challenge. The challenge that I reminded us all of last night, and that was that you are here to found an enterprise that's going to be bold and venturesome in its confrontation of cancer, and that's what this meeting is all about. I'd like to acknowledge on your behalf, and with great gratitude also, our executive committee. Whilst I've just said we have a flat line in terms of hierarchy, you have deputized an executive committee to do the business, your business of the round table. And no one could chair it more ably and with greater dedication and purpose, and also with enormous resources that I've been told I'm not allowed to talk about, better than Chris Viehbacher. We've had 3 great chairmen, beginning with Bob Ingram, Bill Weldon, and now Chris Viehbacher. And that's a trinity I think all of you would agree it's hard to beat. Bob Ingram also serves on the executive committee. You're going to hear from him because he's been entrusted with the future of the CEO Roundtable, and that future is to be found where? In the nominating committee that is chaired so wonderfully by Bob. Bill Weldon expresses his regret that he could not be here, but he is not only in absentia here, but he is here also in the person of the now member of the CEO Roundtable representing Johnson & Johnson. And Alex, I want to especially, again, personally welcome you and your team here. Thank you. Ann Vickery from Hogan Lovells is our legal counsel, our corporate counsel, and you've heard already about our comptroller and chief financial officer, known to us affectionately as Matisse, and that, of course, is Ken Lee. And I'm honored to be the last person on the executive committee. It now is appropriate, Mr. Chairman, to share with you and all that the status and the state of your CEO Roundtable is not only stable but robust. One of the things that you, in your individual corporate CEOs, as corporate CEOs would do at your board meeting, would immediately ask for and receive the financial report. In terms of the robustness of your roundtable, the finances are obviously important. But I probably won't need to remind you, because Ken will, that the greatest assets are in this room and in your corporations that you lead. Those are the real assets. But if I may call upon Matisse, would you please give us the financial status, Ken, of your CEO Roundtable on Cancer? You have to push and hold the button down.
I got to hold it down, okay.
Thank you. You have to hold it down.
Well, thank you for those remarks. I wish my mother was here. If there's a single message for our group, it is that we're in sound financial condition. I think of, just as the executive committee, the entity of the CEO Roundtable as sort of being this is the fuel in the tank for the leverage, and you are the leverage, and so we get so much more in terms of value and activities than the actual budget for the central organization here could ever afford. But we operate on about $1.5 million budget that's primarily from dues, and it's well controlled. I participate throughout the year in reviewing budgets and actuals and expenditures, and from time to time we run into opportunities that we either vote up or vote down, always with Marty's leadership. But I would tell you that the controls for the organization are in place and working well. We, through the vision of some of the early founding members, have built a small financial cushion, and so the wolf will not be at the door of this organization in any way that I could ever see. So the leveraging, of course, that we do is for the gold standard work and for the Life Science Consortium. Looking forward, I would think that the Life Science Consortium especially could grow in significance and opportunity, and also in spending, and so we're carefully considering that. Another thing that could cost money going forward is global expansion, and I'm sure Marty's got in his remarks, or Chris, at some stage this morning, talking about the CEO Roundtable activities in China and other places around the world. And our policy, as established by the Executive Committee, is going to be cost sharing where other geographies get the benefit and contribute to the end goals of our mutual organization. So, long story short, we're in really fine shape, and I would applaud Marty and John Dornan and the entire team for being highly respectful of the budgets and controls of the organization.